everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Lindsay Wolfington. I'm fans. I am a Guild of Music Supervisors board member, but also an organizer and member of the Education Committee. And I just wanted to quickly thank all our panelists for being here today. The premise of this panel, Jonathan Leahy and I taught the Master's Music Supervision class together at USC a couple years ago. And this is literally one of our classes. Jonathan brought in his Pro Tools one day and said, I have this scene, who wants to put a song to it? So, and that is what music supervisors do all day long. So without further ado, Jonathan Leahy, our moderator.
Thank you, Lindsay. I'm gonna sit down to be down here with the rest of the panelists. We are getting the AV situation together, so while we wait, in the interest of making the most of everyone's time, let's meet the panelists, and let's just start, just say who you are, and maybe talk about a couple of projects that you are best known for, or that you're proudest of, real quick.
I'm Jennifer Pyken. Oh, sorry, I started talking really loud. Hello? Hi. I'm Jennifer Pyken. I'm predominantly known for music supervising TV shows. I started out doing shows like Felicity, One Tree Hill, Smallville. I did recently Workaholics, This Is Us, Healing Powers of Dude, my first kids show, which is really fun to do. And then I've done a few films along the way. Happy Gilmore, and more recently, Game Over Man. And I'm very excited to be working on a Hallmark show called The Way Home. So that's what I'm up to now.
Hi, Kier Lehman. Known for working on projects like Insecure, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Mitchell's vs. the Machines. I do TV shows and films. And we do, I have a company with some other supervisors that work with me, and we do a lot of TV shows, and I'm not gonna think of any of them off the top of my head right now, because that's how it goes. But thanks guys for coming, nice to be here.
Hi, is this working? Yeah. I'm Robin Urdang. I'm known for a little show called The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I've worked on numerous TV shows and films. I started in films. I'm working with this lovely Janet Lopez on a film right now for Searchlight. What am I known for? Call Me By Your Name, Suspiria, all of Luca Guadagnino's films, all of Amy Sherman Palladino and Dan Palladino's projects, and everything from Dorothy Dandridge to Mambo Kings and I don't know. I can't think of them all.
That is plenty.
Lucas films, I said. And thank you all for being here.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm Janet Lopez, and I have been music supervising for several years with a company that I love called Neophonic. And up until recently, I have now been in a new role at 20th and Searchlight. But you might have known my work through some HBO and HBO Max projects, as well as other studios. But recently I had done The White Lotus, and I have done The Nevers, The Gilded Age, a show that I was actually really proud of a young girl that comes from a Cuban-American family called Diary of a Future President. And also HBO's last film, Oslo. I did The Twilight Zone. I did The American Utopia here. And I'm proud of all of my work, but thank you very much for having me.
Well, I hope the four people here with me are four of the best people in the profession. I'm super honored to be with you all. The projects that you've done speak for themselves. So we're going to dive right in. This panel is called What's the Alternative? When Lindsay and I were talking about this, you know, this is super nerdy, but the taxonomy of music, how we all organize it and separate it and label it and categorize it, is super interesting to me and probably everyone that listens to music. We're all familiar with playlists based on genre, playlists built, organized around the era. We're familiar with playlists based around utility. We all have our workout mix, we have our chill mix. But when you music supervise film and TV, there are other categories that emerge that the average listener at home maybe doesn't think about. And for the purposes of this panel, we decided on 4 categories that come up over and over and over again when you music supervise things. And those categories are, I'm gonna, help me if I forget them. Number 1, producers say, I want the song to be recognizable. So lane number 1 is recognizability. And that's where Janet Lopez is going to be pitching us an idea of a recognizable song. Price is no object. We just want it to be recognizable. Another category that comes up all the time is we want to do something, we want to showcase the next big thing. We want to use a pop song that has not broken yet, but that people will be dying to Shazam when they watch the show. We want to seem cool, we want to seem contemporary, we want to blow people's minds with new talent that will be on the charts 6 months from now, which is easier said than done, identifying a Billboard chart number 1 6 months in advance, especially when you're dealing with what we do, which is we're putting songs into a show weeks before it mixes, and then after it mixes, it's months before it airs. And then we're still trying to be ahead of pop charts. So it's quite an effort to do what we did, and Kier Lehman is in that category. His pitch that we'll see shortly is a pop artist that will be big but is not yet. Lane number 3 is the budget concern. We don't have much money. And obviously when you're playlisting songs at home, it doesn't matter. You can put Beatles on a playlist next to Pink Floyd, next to Rihanna, next to whatever. But when you're music supervising film and TV, how much it's going to cost is a big concern. And it's not the sexiest thing to categorize music by, how much is it going to cost, but it's a reality of our profession. So Jen Pyken got the job of, can you find us something that is affordable, that is still great? What I like about this category is when you're given budget constraints, it forces you to sometimes be more creative and make more interesting creative choices. So it's actually a really cool lane to search for music in. And last but not least, we often get asked by producers and directors to show me something that is unexpected. I don't want to say out of the box ever in my life, but we've all been faced with that request. Just like show me something different, like something surprising, something unexpected. And so something unexpected is Robin's lane for today. What we're going to be using for this panel is a show that I supervised, and the reason for that is simple. I have the QuickTimes on my computer. It's a show called Good Girls that ran for 4 seasons on NBC and Netflix. Great show. Thank you. The music in the show, another thing that made it good for the panel is the music in the show is really eclectic. It's truly all over the place. So it lended itself well to 4 different approaches.
It's all unexpected.
It's all unexpected. All right, we got to go fast. We only got 30 minutes left. Let's get into the first lane. We're going to go recognizable. This comes to us via Janet Lopez. Let's see what it feels like with a big song that costs $1 zillion that is probably not going to get approved if we're all being honest with each other. Janet, tell us why you love this.
So, first of all, thank you for cutting it so well. And I love you two. I love this song. Love is Blindness is off of Octoon Baby and doesn't always get, I think, the credit that it truly deserves. There's a lot that you can say about you two, but a lot that you also just can't deny. And since 1992, this song, I think, has been sort of like loved and since stored. And I thought this would be a really great opportunity for it to really kind of showcase. And I love the irony in the Love is Blindness lyric without being, sort of literal to what the song is about, yet her sort of like the consequence of where she is and what it drives us to do. And so there's breath in the song. There's that sort of dark moment with our character in the alley, and I thought it was just sort of somber enough to play through and still feel poignant at the end, particularly with like one thing leads to another and you find yourself maybe in the dark. So I hope you enjoyed it. I love that song. There are things that I will say that I don't want to take all of our time, but is anyone here an aspiring music supervisor? Okay. Teachable moment, right? I put this song here deliberately because I wanted to kind of like wow and celebrate this song, but and this great scene. But also, you cannot put your first, what's the alternative, with a huge recognizable, over $100,000 song. This is for all things to align. Do you have a series that's successful? Do you have a showrunner that really can support this? Do you have characters that would not offend the artist? Is the scene okay? Am I doing a linear edit, which we are? Are we well within knowing that we can spend high? Is our studio okay with breaking potential precedent? All of these things need to be discussed prior to even putting the song in front of anyone associated with U2.
If you show this song to a director or producer, it's going to be impossible to show them anything else.
Exactly.
They're going to be disappointed with the scene for the rest of their life.
Yeah. So there's
That's called temp love.
There's a lot of work to do before you get anyone excited about what this could be. But for our purposes, I thought it was a fun song to try and showcase.
As you'll see, I have the benefit of having already seen these, of course. That is by far the serious approach to the scene. So we're going to go in 3 very different directions here. That makes everything feel super weighty and serious and dramatic, and even the silly guy in the alley, it makes it seem real. It makes the stakes feel real. And if the directors and the producers want to achieve that effect, that's a great way to go. So I love the variety we have here. That's a wonderful way to make everything seem serious and high stakes. So thank you, Janet. That's great.
Thank you.
Okay, the next big thing, this is what I'm calling your lane.
Great.
This is a fantastic artist. I love the song. I love what it does for the scene. This is so different from our first. Kier, that song is amazing. It gives this entire sequence such a different flavor. All the comedy comes out. All of the absurdity of the situations come out in a totally different way. Talk to us.
Thank you, for cutting it so well. I feel like we're all going to be saying that, but thank you for laying it in so well so that it works so well. That's the song is called "Pool" by Still Woozy and Remy Wolf. Remy Wolf is one of my favorite artists of recent, and so when my assignment was to pitch something that I thought was going to be, the next big thing. She's somebody that immediately popped into my mind, and I went through her stuff. The scene is interesting. It's got a couple of different layers of emotion to it. So one of the challenges when you're finding a song for a scene like that is you got to be able to find something that's not too serious, not too funny, but kind of lets both of those elements come through and lets the audience kind of feel all of those emotions. And fortunately I came across this track that had both of those and held both of those in kind of an equal place. So when you're cutting, and there's sections of the song, that Jonathan kind of cut so well to play different parts of the scene that may be leaning one way or the other with the emotion. And so that all kind of comes into play when you're thinking about that. And these kinds of scenes are challenging, especially when they're long like this and they have all these different characters and storylines that are getting tied together, that you really have to find something that's going to, connect with all those different storylines within one song. And then find a music editor who can really cut it well to make it work. So those are kind of all the considerations that are going through my mind as I'm trying to find a song that works like that.
Yeah, one of the things that your song has in common with Janet's song is that it has lots of sections. And as someone who played the role of music editor for the purpose of this panel, they were both really fun to work with. So many sections. Your song has halftime moments and changes in instrumentation and mood, as well as being a male-female vocal duet. So that one was super rich and wonderful to work with. Anyways, great job, Kier. I love that.
Thank you.
Okay, which brings us to category number 3. Jen, you had no money. We gave you we gave you no money to work with. You had to come up with something brilliant. We have clip number 3 ready to go. Wow, that one was different.
It definitely
How different was that?
Well, editing was great. I'm going to just repeat that again, so thank you.
Guys, I am switching careers.
I
This is where I announce I'm
They
no
have a
longer a music
union.
supervisor.
You're hired.
Music editors are in the union, so that's a good thing for music editors. So, as a music supervisor, sometimes you can give like 2 or 3 options to your producer or directors, and sometimes your song's not picked. So this was a great opportunity for me to go like, this is what I would put in here. This is the only choice. So I picked Georgia Fern. The great thing about this artist is she actually sent me her EP a few years ago, blindly, I think on Facebook. And I listened to it and I loved it. And I've never had an opportunity to put a song in of hers. So this was my opportunity to use a completely unknown indie artist from the UK in a TV show. Now she's not getting licensed, but it was, and so it's interesting because I hadn't talked to her in a little bit, and I got some of her new songs recently, and you guys should check her out. So.
Yeah, just to review the labels that, you're the affordable category.
She's unsigned.
Yeah, let's review the labels real quick.
Really indie. I don't think she's ever had a placement
Yeah.
in a film or TV show.
So U2 is on Island. The record came out on Island. Remy Wolf, Still Woozy, Interscope. Your song, TBD, RCA. This song came out on Grapefruit Records and is slightly more affordable.
Yeah, definitely more affordable.
Creatively, though, I love that song does something completely unique from Still Woozy and completely unique from U2. It feels jaunty. It feels dark and sexy. It has like I don't even, say again?
A playfulness.
It's playful, it's dark and playful and sexy and funny. It got, yeah, that song gets laughs out of the scene that we didn't get maybe with U2. So we get additional laughs, but it still feels like dark and like
Edgy.
like scheme. It like play for me. Like it makes Christina's character seem so scheming in a wonderful way. I love what it does to Christina's final turn to the FBI agents. It's great. So yeah, hopefully we're all noticing that all these songs bring out all of these colors and comedy and drama and suspense and danger and sexiness is in the scene, but it's like pairing it with a wine or something. All of these different things bring out different flavors of the scene, which is really awesome. Anyways, thank you, Jen. That was great.
Hey, Jen.
Okay, how are we doing on time? We've got about 12 minutes left. 12 minutes, okay, great.
Oh, good.
So category number 4, we called this, I decided to call it unexpected. So this is when someone says, God forbid, show me something out of the box. The show, as we've talked about, this show is tended to kind of go all over the place with the music. So doing something unexpected was kind of our modus operandi. So this song is great. We totally would have done it in the show. We would have done any of these in the show. They're all fantastic. But I think after we watch this, you might chuckle at what unexpected can actually mean. Okay, here we go. Clip number 4 from Robin Urdang. That was wonderful. I'm going to let you talk.
Oh, no.
I'm going to let you finish. But
Talk away. You know my reasons. Talk
yeah.
away.
So unexpected. When we were talking about, Lindsay and I were talking about this, we all talked about this. What does unexpected mean? The first thing you're like, oh, unexpected is an artist you've never heard of. Well, it could be that, or unexpected could be a crazy genre, like put
Children's choir.
Put opera here, put a children's choir here. Or sometimes unexpected is using a really unusual recording by a legendary artist that you just overlook. Like we're looking for Remy Wolfs all day, and sometimes we forget that there's just an entire catalog of Elvis recordings out there. So unexpected doesn't mean you've never heard of the artist. And for me, putting Elvis over the scene is super unexpected. This recording was made in 1954. It was so weird that Sun Records didn't even put it out. He didn't even have all the band members in the studio when he recorded it. He did this really weird thing where he didn't sing the happy ending bridge and final verse. He only sang the sad verses and then did his crazy falsetto. It's a really idiosyncratic, beautiful recording that I find, as someone who worked on the show, to be a most unexpected choice, and it works great. And it also does something that none of the other songs do, which is it's a serious song, but it makes it funny. So anyways, go ahead.
You said it all. I love the song. I love the irony of Blue Moon being once in a lifetime. I had actually given a few songs over to Jonathan and wanted to make sure, because of all of our different choices, I wanted to make sure that it was more unusual. The whole show has unexpected music, so I was like, what's unexpected? I originally found the Bob Dylan version of it, and I was like, this is really cool. And at the very last minute, I found the Elvis version. And it made me laugh just now the way you did that. But there's some sense of feeling emotion, and I think it brings out all the different emotions that we want to feel in the scene. I hope. Unexpectedly.
It does. You know, the Dean and Beth in the parking lot of the prison. It makes that really. I mean, the song is so sweet, but it makes it really funny, and then it makes the guy shaking in the alley.
He's an ironic character. He's like this character that does everything stupid. He's like an idiot. So.
I love the way that worked.
Thank
you. Yeah, you know, it's interesting. Looking at the 4 options that we heard here today, they're across genres. Quickly, if I'm remembering the dates right, 1991, 1956, brand new 2022, 2018. So we're getting, you kind of see, hopefully we're all appreciating that something super cutting edge like Kier's track versus something super relatively old like Elvis. It can all work here. The lovely thing about sync is the dividing lines of genre and release date kind of melt away, and you are stuck with these lanes. How much can you afford? Do you want to make people Shazam a brand new track? Do you want to blow people's mind with something unexpected? Or do you want to give people comfort food a little bit, give them recognizability, which is a huge, huge factor. Does anybody else want to talk?
I just want to say that there's times where we look at a scene like this and we go, what do we want? What does the producer want? What is the creative, what are we trying to get out of this? And I know for me, I've given a director, a producer, creator will say, I want this music, Rob, and I'll say, okay, and then I'll throw in something else, and they're like, that they didn't expect or they didn't want to hear, and that's what gets used. So never be afraid to do what you think, because they don't always know.
Kier?
But they get to make the choice.
They make the choice. It's their decision.
So we talked about before, we're usually providing options to producers and directors, and they're the ones ultimately making the choice. So this was a fun exercise where we got to actually make the final choice, or have Jonathan help us make the final choice, which is because it was a different position, I think, for me to be in, just actually making that final decision.
I was laughing when I just asked them for one song. I was like, pick your song, and they all gave me folders, and I was like, you couldn't get out of music supervisor mindset. You're like, I must give options.
All of these songs for producer, what would they do?
Yeah. I don't want to turn this at all into a competition or a contest, but now, and I hadn't planned on asking this question, but now that I've got a room full of people and we've all seen all 4, I'm curious, would you mind if we did some hands to see how people felt?
We have no egos. You can't have any egos in music supervisor.
Okay.
Definitely not.
There is no wrong choice.
There's no
it's been
wrong
beaten out of
choice.
us.
There's
This is not a competition and there's no wrong answer, but I am personally curious if you all were the director, you got to make the final say. Which song do you choose? Can I see a show of hands for option number 1, U2, Love is Blindness? Okay. Wow. They had no budget to reckon with, and they still...
You know what, though? Seriously, because you can say a lot for the sky's the limit, but I, as a music supervisor myself, would love to sometimes explore. It's cool to play songs we know, but let's see what happens when we watch a show we haven't seen against music we haven't heard.
Yeah. So look at that. So it looks like, unless my math is wrong, it looks like a more affordable song is going to defeat the heavyweight champ. All right. Option number 2, Kier Lehman, Pool by Still Woozy featuring Remy Wolf. How many for Kier? Okay. I think that's about a tie with you two. Option number 3, L'amour from Georgia Fern. Whoa! You all are saving money. That's amazing. This is a room full of accountants. Okay, and option number 4, Blue Moon Elvis from Robin Urdang. Ooh. Wow. Okay. Wow, that's super interesting. I hope everyone, I don't have my glasses on. What does that sign say?
2 minutes.
Okay. Well, that's interesting that Elvis, the unexpected choice, and the affordable choice seem to have come out on top in the court of public opinion. Jen, would you like to say anything else?
No, definitely go listen to her music, Georgia Fern. You can find her on probably Spotify and lots of other places. And if you're up-and-coming music supervisors, beat me out and get her placed, and then let me know, because I love supporting independent artists.
Right on. Well, until they tell us we have to turn off the microphones, does anyone have any questions for the panel? Right here.
This question is for Jennifer. I noticed in George's, that was my choice, I noticed in George's song, kind of like the vocal production mixing was like pretty harsh. I'm wondering if music like hers oftentimes like falls short of placements because of that. I'm wondering if people like that, or professionals like that song, if it's kind of remixed anyway.
You know, it just depends on the scene. Yeah, it is definitely jaggy, and that's what I like about it. And I think I've been trying to place this for a while, it needs to be a scene that there's not a lot of dialogue. And Jonathan really edited it really well. So you have a good editor on your team can really help make that work. Because I was concerned it wasn't going to work, so I gave him 3 songs by the same artist. I was believing in her completely, but I was a little concerned that it might not work under dialogue.
I will say this, as someone who does like to music edit, obviously, when you have a mix that has a super strident upfront vocal, I will ask the label for an a cappella and an instrumental mix, and I will manufacture a vocal down mix. So that's just me, super nerdy on that side of things.
No,
But
I do this, definitely
Yeah.
you can get the instrumentals.
get the instrumental, get the a cappella, you can actually they're telling us to wrap it up. Okay, that's all we have for you. Thank you so much to our panel. Thank you to all of you. Have a great day.
Thank you all.